What would you say that one of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing the younger generation making right now when they could be making opportunity?
Instant gratification. The dopamine hits that you have of how many motivational videos do you motherfuckers watch? They're all dopamine hits. You don't act on it. So everybody wants instant gratification, instant results, instant pleasure, instant love, instant success. Success is good because most people don't achieve it. If everybody was successful, then it wouldn't be worth anything. It's dope and it's worth something because it's fucking hard. That's what makes it sick. That's why people respect it. Getting rich, who gives a fuck about the money? It's the fact that you were able to do it. You come from the trenches, you get rich, respect. You come from a silver spoon, you get rich, it's fine, you got money. It's a different type of game. It's a different type of vibe. And people understand that, they respect it. They don't respect the fact that you have money, they respect the hustle and who you became in the process in order to get it. Instant gratification, 1. 2, comparison. Comparison is the killer of joy. For you to be 18 years old and look at me and assume that you're going to have what I have, be who I am, do what I do, without having put in the work, the energy, the hours, the resources, the time, the experience, is not going to happen. So people are looking at the internet. They're looking at all these individuals, the supercars, the bitches, all this shit. Like, this is what I want. No, that's not what you want. That's what you've been told that you want. That's what you've been told is success. But it's not. Focus on you. What are the essential things that you need to focus on? And then I would say the final part is health. I know this is a trading podcast, but it's a big one. You need to have your temple in check. You need to have your body in check. What does a man profit if he gains the whole world but loses his own soul? Right? So if you make a ton of money, if you achieve financial success, business success, but you compromise your health, your mindset, your spirituality in the process, you lost the game.
I think that last point is the one that a lot of people struggle with. Even I've struggled with it as well. Like when you get into the entrepreneurship, and especially once you're the grinding phase, and then of course the momentum. Once that momentum's there, it's so easy to get such a tunnel vision and only focus on how do I grow as a business, how do I grow as a brand, as a person, as a creator, and so on and so forth. And then you start neglecting also not relationships, as you say, spirituality, health. It's so easy to be done, but it's so important to highlight it, I think, for sure. And one thing I wanted to ask you actually was, it's a bit of a different sort of scenario. So kind of different scenarios that we could sort of try and give some people at different levels something to think about. So let's say, for example, you've got the person who has $1,000, right, that they are able to invest or use for their growth. For them to be able to, say, get to $10,000, what sort of things would you do if you were in that position?
Immediately join a cheap community. Join as many free communities as you can and have your name known. If you have $1,000, you don't have much. But what you do have is a reputation. A lot of people don't invest in their reputation. Invest money in your reputation. Go get seen. Go network. Go get involved. Go spend your money. Go spend the $150, buy a plane ticket, and go surround yourself with winning people. Offer value. You know how people get networked and connected? When they are the to-go-to guy. So are you the to-go-to guy for anything? If I'm the to-go-to guy, and I am for a lot of things, opportunity naturally comes my way because I'm the middleman, I'm the gateway. So before making any sort of plays myself, I started becoming the gateway, that guy. People knew me for this. So I invested my money into my personal brand. I invested my money into myself, into my self-development. Not just my internal self-development, like my mindset. People talk, you don't have to buy a course, a single course. But what is your reputation? Your reputation needs to be untainted, unassailable, of high regard. And you achieve this through networking. You achieve this through interacting with people. This idea of being isolated online and thinking that the best opportunities come from you talking to somebody on a Discord and that's where things are going to get materialized. Yeah, it could. But I've interacted with people in person, and the digital relationships, when kind of brokered physically, they become a lot more meaningful and a lot deeper. So when I have $1,000, I'm focused on me. I'm focused on leveling up me. You're not going to make a ton of money off of flipping $1,000. It's just simply not going to be the case. Become the person that makes more money. Once you start making a couple more $1,000, let's say you make $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Now you can focus on multiplying that money, whether you want to flip it with sneakers, flip it with, you know, some sort of garage sale, or whether you want to trade small things here and there. It's still not a lot of money. Instead of flipping, instead of trading, you need to focus on cash flow. You need to focus on how can you build and sustain your lifestyle. And then all the excess is the money that allows you to trade. Because you can trade one of two ways. You can trade out of need and out of greed, or you can trade out of being in control. If you trade out of need and greed, you know, the person that gets the $500 wants to flip it in a shitcoin because they have to pay for rent tomorrow. They're not going to win because their mindset, how they're trading, how they're going about it is completely wrong. If you trade out of strategy, out of your plan, you're in control. And you don't need to trade. You don't need to make that money because it's not your only source of income. So for traders, especially beginners, they don't have enough ammunition to continue playing the game because they don't have cash flow. So focus on yourself, elevate your skill sets, elevate your connections, become a better individual, make a little bit more money, have some sort of cash flow that comes in, and then your excess you can jump into the market. I started paper trading for the first 2 years. So I paper traded for a couple years while I was observing it. My money was quite limited. And once I began to make more money, then it gave me more freedom to position myself and make better plays.
Let's say if we took another scenario then. So that's the $1,000 scenario. Let's go up to $100,000. Let's say if you're at $100,000 mark and your aim is to use that to be able to get to the 7 figures. What would you do in that position?
So right now I would probably play the crypto markets as my highest leverage play. 100,000 to 1 million in a bull run is possible, but obviously advocating for 10x multiples in 12 months is pretty insane, even though it's doable. But I would be allocating just, I would say 30% of my portfolio to Bitcoin, maybe 20% to ETH, maybe 20% to TON. The Open Network is the new token that's been built on the Telegram ecosystem. And then probably the rest of the 30% sprinkled across altcoins, top altcoins like Solana, Avalanche, and just ride the bull market. After I ride the bull market, I'd probably cash out, which is kind of what I did last bull run, and then just put it into a high return yield fund that gives me 5, 6, 7% a year, and then wait for the next bull run to roll around. It might take you 2 to 3 cycles to get to that number. Obviously, the goal here is to not lose money. That's the first rule of trading. So you just don't lose money. If I tell you go buy a meme coin, then it's not the right play. The right play is for you to preserve that, because losing $100,000, if that's all the money you have, that's a lot of fucking hard work to get back. It's a lot of your first 100 grand. You got to respect them. So once you have that number, it's about growing it steadily. And once again, it goes back to the same principle. If you have cash flow, you're going to treat and interact with that 100 grand a lot differently. If that's your end all be all, and that's where you're going to make your money from, your principal from, it's one thing. But I swing trade. I'm not day trading. I don't pull my profits that day and pay for the bills. No, I'll pull money every single year, and that's kind of how I'll operate. So a little bit of different perspective. I know some people make a living off of trading. That's great. I know people that make millions of dollars doing that. I personally swing trade, and I have my cash flow that comes in from my business operations and from my personal brand that allows me the opportunity to actually play long-term narratives.
Off the back of that, actually, I think it's an important one, which is in terms of savings wise, a lot of people, they get into crypto, get into trading, very similar in nature, and they're using, as you touched on, like the money, that all the money they have, versus I've always been someone who's tried to say, like, try and build some form of cash buffer. But off the back of everything else that we've talked about as well, there's also a danger in that, right, of just having money in the bank.